Hatch has some new and useful features that make creating your own designs fun and easy. I'm Linda Goodall, and in this video, we'll use some of the shapes in the new Standard Shapes library that's been added to the digitized toolbox to create a Christmas ornament like some of the ones that you see here. Then we'll use the new weld tool to combine the objects into one piece, and finally, we'll create a new shape library and add our ornament to it. If you've worked with monogram frames before, you may recognize these shapes from that area. By having them available on the digitized toolbox, they're easier to work with and easier to control. So let's go to a new document. I'm going to click on the standard shapes in the digitized toolbox, and you'll see that I have quite a few libraries here. You won't have all of these. You'll have borders, borders 2, and urban borders. I'm going to click on urban borders, and I'm going to click this one right here. So I'll select it, say OK, and then I'm just going to drag out a shape. And that looks pretty ornament-like right there, but we want to do some more stuff to it. So I'll go back to the standard shapes. This time I'll go to borders, and I'm going to choose this one. Click OK. And if you'll notice, all I'm doing is I click in the start corner and I drag it out. So I can drag in any direction, and when I get to the shape I want, I just click again and it's filled. I can move it. I can still reshape it. Now, one thing you can know about this is if I press H, you can see I have all these nodes on here, and I can alter it in any way that I want to. I'm just going to stack it up there, and I'm going to go back and get one more standard shapes. I think it's in borders in this one. Let's see, is it here? Let's try this one. Click OK. And you wouldn't think that this would make a very interesting ornament, but look at that. So there's my object, and I can reshape my pieces, move them around a bit. Maybe I want to make that a little bit bigger. And when you're happy with the pieces, we're going to select all of them, and I'm going to go to the alignment tool and click Align Centers Vertically. And that gets them all lined up. Now I'm going to select all of them and do Weld from the digitized toolbox. And what Weld does, it's going to merge all those pieces together so that if I go to the sequence bar, you can see that I just have one object now. And we really want to have just one object when we add a frame or a border. And the other rule about a frame or border is it must either be a filled object or it can be a single run outline. You don't want to have a satin border because that sort of has two sides to it, an inside and an outside, but I usually make mine filled. So there it is. So now we're going to go up here, we're going to create a library, and we'll add it. So I'll click on New. I already have one called Christmas Ornaments, so I'm just going to call this Orns for short. And we'll call this Orn 001. That way I could potentially have 999 and they would all be sequenced in there. Click OK. Now I have to mark its left and its right side. I have to give it points. And it's the same thing that you do with motifs. So if you've ever made a motif, you know that you have to click on either side of the design. Now truthfully, I have clicked all over the place and it doesn't seem to make a difference. So I'm not exactly sure what they do. So now let's create a new document. Control N. We'll go to our standard shapes. Come down here, and there's our ornament. And we can just add it in. And I can make it skinny, I can make it fat, I can make it any shape I want, as far as short and wide, tall and skinny, and there it is. Now we can reuse it at any time we want. Now it's kind of boring this way, but if you've been working with Hatch for a while, you know that You could make this into an applique. You could use the Create Borders and Outlines tool to add different borders on it and put motifs on it. You can use it as a monogram frame. In fact, if you go into monogramming and lettering, go to monogramming, you will find it as one of the frame options in the borders. So it does double duty as a monogram frame or an object. So I'm going to save embellishing for another video. We'll play around with some of these in another video. But one more thing before we leave. If you saw my file back here, I like to have sort of a master file where I store my ornaments or my borders. And it's just so when I go to make a new border and it's a Christmas ornament, I can go in here and see that maybe I already have something really close, or maybe this is going to be a new one. So I'd like to see all of them before I make a new one to make sure I'm not adding a duplicate. It's not necessary, it's not required, but it's just a handy way to look at all your designs and see what you have. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to see what kind of ornaments you make.